Now, this little bit of news today made me extremely happy. What am I talking about? Well, Remedy Games has retained the publishing rights to Alan Wake. And I have been dreaming about a Alan Wake 2 ever since I played the original 360 release all the way back in 2010. And it seems that we might be getting a sequel sooner rather than later, and that has me so excited. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, Man with a Million, back again with another video. Hope everyone is having a great day. I know I am. Alan Wake 2 is a possibility. Yes! Well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more content. I greatly appreciate it. Now, what you're watching right now on screen was the Alan Wake 2 demo that Remedy had put together to shop to other publishers after the original game. So Microsoft really wasn't interested in doing Alan Wake 2, and their talks kind of led to Quantum Break being their next game. But Remedy has always wanted to do a sequel to Alan Wake. They put together this demo, which they shopped to many of the publishers in the video game industry back in 2010, but unfortunately, nobody wanted to fund the project. But Sam Lake and the crew always thought about returning to that universe some point down the road. But it became a little bit impossible because Microsoft had the publishing rights to the title, and it was clear that they didn't want anything to do with Alan Wake. They wanted a new IP, Quantum Break, which came out in 2016, and since then, their relationship with Microsoft, you can, I guess, best describe as fractured. There is no Quantum Break 2, and Remedy is making multi-platform games. They said that that is their future with Control, which looks really a lot like Quantum Break, is coming out on August 27th. But today, Remedy let their investors know that they have regained the publishing rights to Alan Wake from Microsoft. And in speaking to Eurogamer, they had this to say about the whole thing. The only thing we want to clarify, now that Remedy owns the publishing rights, is that we could bring Alan Wake to different platforms if we so choose, a Remedy spokesperson told me this afternoon. We have nothing to announce for now. We are fully focused on Control releasing on the 27th of August. Oh, be still my beating heart. Alan Wake 2 could potentially be a thing, but of course this has people really interested in the possibilities of what could happen. There's talks that maybe Sony is looking into buying Remedy after Control comes out. And Sony would be like, hey, you want Alan Wake 2? You can make what you want. They own the publishing rights. And then Alan Wake 2 would come out as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. My last video talks about how Sony is positioning the PlayStation 5 for hardcore gamers who love AAA exclusive cinematic games. And what better way to kind of prove that even more to gamers by, publishing and investing in Alan Wake 2. It would get a lot of lapsed Xbox fans another reason to pick up the PlayStation 5. Look, I just want Alan Wake 2 to be a thing. So today's news just brings me so much joy. If there's one game that I've wanted a sequel to from last generation, it is definitely this game. For years, I've dreamed of a situation during Xbox's press briefings where the lights dim and you hear someone click-clacking on the typewriter, and then you hear Alan Wake say, "It's not a lake, it's an ocean," and then a woman's voice goes, "Alan, wake up," and they start a trailer for Alan Wake 2, and it says coming at some soon time. I would flip out. Because in my opinion, Alan Wake deserves a sequel. It's been something I've been looking forward to since 2010, and for the longest time, I thought it wasn't possible. But with this news today, I'm thinking, you know what? Next generation, it is definitely possible that we are going to get an Alan Wake 2. Here's how I see this whole thing playing out. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be an Alan Wake remaster of the first game, the 2 DLCs that came with it, and then that Xbox Live arcade game, Alan Wake American Nightmare. They're going to remaster that, and more than likely they are going to put that on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, probably both systems, and maybe potentially a Switch port. Would they also remaster it for the Xbox One or the Xbox Scarlett? If they want to be multi-platform, probably, but I guess that really depends on who is publishing this, because I don't really see Remedy publishing Alan Wake or self-publishing the game, right? They will find a publisher, just like they did for Control, who happens to be 505 Games. So I guess it depends on who is going to publish this stuff, but I really do feel that Alan Wake Remaster is definitely a thing that is going to happen, and it could definitely use a remaster. Higher resolution, better frame rates, better textures. You know, it's definitely a 360 game. It's not a bad looking game, but it could look so much better on the X or on the Pro or Scarlett, right? I think that is the first stepping stone to get to before we get to the main course, which would be Alan Wake 2. But then it becomes a little bit more tricky. They obviously want to make a sequel in the Alan Wake universe. I think you make this move regaining the publishing rights. Now, I'm not really sure if they paid Microsoft for them or if the contract basically had a time limit on it, where Microsoft had X amount of years, say 9 or 10, to do something with it, and if you didn't, it reverted back to Remedy. I don't really know the ins and the outs of the legal stuff. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe Remedy paid for it. We don't really know. But what we do know is Remedy probably doesn't want to do this alone. It's going to cost a lot of money to make a sequel to Alan Wake, you know, that the fans of the franchise deserve. It's going to cost millions upon millions of dollars. So essentially, they're going to have to team up with somebody. And that's the problem. Nobody wanted to team up with Remedy for Alan Wake 2 back in 2010. You know, Alan Wake 1 is a cult hit, yes, but it only sold 3.5 million, and most of that was on PC after the release on console. Of course, it didn't help that Microsoft released Alan Wake 1 the same day as Red Dead Redemption, which kind of killed a lot of the sales, but on Metacritic, it's an 83. It's a good game, in my opinion at least. I know some people will say differently. So what I'm saying here is basically, while I hope and pray for an Alan Wake 2, and I think this is the first step, I do kind of wonder who is going to publish the game. Clearly, it's not going to be Microsoft. I think that ship sailed a long time ago, so you can rule them out. I doubt it's going to be Nintendo. As far as I know, Remedy and Nintendo really don't have a relationship. Could be Sony. It very well could be. If you get on social media, if you look at some of the Remedy accounts, a lot of the PlayStation developers have been kind of cordial to Remedy. Remedy's been visiting a lot of different PlayStation studios. So maybe this is just one of those things where Sony is ready to publish a game for the PlayStation 5, and Alan Wake 2 could be it now with the publishing rights back with Remedy. Maybe Sony's looking to buy them. That could be a scenario, because I really doubt somebody like EA or Activision would be interested in publishing a single-player only experience like this. So Alan Wake 2 could potentially end up being a PlayStation 5 de facto exclusive if Sony publishes it, or a multi-platform exclusive on Xbox Scarlett as well as the PlayStation 5 if, you know, some big-time publisher that wants to put it on everything picks it up. But today was a good day, guys. Alan Wake back in the news. The fans excited to see what the universe is, how it's going to expand. And more than likely, we're going to get a remaster of Alan Wake on the PlayStation at some point. Hopefully, I got my fingers crossed for a remaster on the Xbox One or the Xbox Scarlett where I can replay the game again, get all those gamer score and achievements like I did with the first game, get people really excited about the universe and saying, hey, you know what, Alan Wake is pretty damn good, we want a sequel. And maybe some publisher out there is like, you know what, now's the time for Alan Wake 2. And then next gen, maybe 3 years from now, we finally get what we should have gotten a long time ago in 2012, or a launch title of the Xbox One, and that is a proper sequel to Alan Wake 2, and I am just completely overjoyed right now. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I hope everybody enjoys it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Share this out on social media. Tell a friend about the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And hit that notification bell if you always want to be notified immediately when I drop new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.